Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BTB Movie Club podcast. My name is Mike Hilty. We hope you enjoyed today's movie discussion. Thanks for listening.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BTB Movie Club. This is movie number 194. It's from 2016. We're watching The Nice Guys tonight. This was picked by Mike Hilty, who was looking pretty dapper, like he just got a brand new haircut or something. He's looking sharp over there. I like that you tightened it up a little bit for leading the group. That's nice. So, take it away, Hilty. It's your moment.
Yep, that is exactly why I ended up, getting a haircut because I knew that I was going to be leading this week. And what better way to show that I am leading a group than to get a haircut on a
On a
audio
podcast.
only podcast.
Yeah,
So
that's way to commit. I think I'll follow suit next week.
cool, 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 cool. Well, so I picked the nice guys because I wanted to pick something that was kind of different from the last two movies that I picked, which were kind of artsy, dour movies. And this one has a lot of cool aesthetic to it, but I also think that this is really funny. Now, I could be wrong because this did not do well at the box office at all. This had like a $30 million budget and it only made like
Ooh,
$11 million US, $76 million total, I think worldwide. So no wonder we don't have a sequel, but we'll kind of get into that a little bit more. So we'll go with opening thoughts. And Tim, we're gonna start directly with you.
hmm.
Give me your thoughts. What did you think of The Nice Guys?
Yeah, so I'm a little conflicted on this because I knew that it didn't do well, and I liked it. Like I thought it was really entertaining, but I also didn't think it was a really great movie, and I'm not sure I can put my thumb on exactly why. Um, it's some of it's a little unbelievable, like Goslinger's character is a little off center, I think. Like he's supposed to be funny, but then every now and then he's supposed to be an action guy, but he's not an action guy. And he's drunk, he can't walk, but then he can drive a car. There's little things about his
And
character that and crash into a tree, but like
and what didn't you find realistic about any of it?
okay, you can talk when it's your turn. But I just thought his character didn't sort of because of some of those little idiosyncrasies didn't really seem real to me. Um, Russell Crowe's character seemed a little more real to me. He seemed a little more put together, and I realized that Goslinger was supposed to be kind of the color commentator guy, the goof, but it just again I can't put my finger exactly on what I didn't find completely believable about this.
Let me
But
stop you for 1 second.
yeah.
It's Gosling, isn't it?
Yeah, I did want to say the same
Oh,
thing.
sorry, Ryan Gosling.
Maybe it's because Goslinger doesn't exist,
Because he
but
wasn't in the movie. Okay,
yeah,
I'm sure there's a Ryan Goslinger somewhere. I was
probably.
mistaken. I was mixing up my Ryans. Um, the daughter being involved, going to parties and watching porn and talking to, adult entertainment actresses was weird. Kind of hard to get past that if they were trying to make this seem like a serious movie. If they were trying to make this kind of more of a comedy, then that works. So I think this movie had a bit of an identity crisis. Like, what is it? And so I found the whole thing entertaining either way. So I liked it. And I just didn't have all the pieces come together for me. A lot of the scenes were great. Um, the party scene I thought was really cool. I like mermaids, I guess. I now know that I like mermaids. Um, what else? I thought the end scene at the auto show was a little far-fetched. Like that went a little over the top for me. But a lot of it was pretty good though. Had a difficult time figuring out the setting. We got a landline phone with a really long cord, so I'm not sure what year this is supposed to be. Um, the way people were dressed and dancing at the parties and stuff. I mean, I haven't been to a lot of parties with adult entertainers, but I get that the dress is a little flashy anyway, no matter what year it is. but I figured this is set back a little bit, but I couldn't figure out when.
1977.
70s, yeah.
77. Okay. That makes a little more sense. So yeah, I'm interested to hear what everybody else has to say about it, just because I'm conflicted. But entertainment value, great. Music, great. I liked the characters, and I just was trying to figure out how everything would go. So that's what I got for you. First
Yeah,
thoughts, anyway.
there's some things about this that just don't work. And I think the characterization for everybody is a little all over the place.
Yeah.
Particularly with Gosling's character. He he flips around a little bit, whereas Russell Crowe's a little bit more consistent
Right.
as well. And I think for me, one thing that kind of loses me a little bit about this is the story. This mystery is kind of a little all over the place, and
Yeah.
I don't know, like it just kind of loses focus because are we talking about somebody who's in a porno? Are we talking about somebody who's, fighting against smog? Like what is happening right now?
Yeah.
So yeah, like I understand where anyone's coming from when it just like as a movie as a whole, like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The unrealistic part, um, I mean, isn't that true in a lot of buddy cop movies in
Sure.
general?
Sure.
So, and speaking of that, question for you, Tim, and anyone can chime in on this as well, is that what are some of your favorite or either duos or buddy cops, like not movies as in general, but what do you typically look for with buddy cops? Either movies, TV, or I guess if you know buddy cops in real life, good for you. But
Yeah. Um, Excellent banter back and forth. Uh, Two that jump out to me are Bad Boys and Paul Newman and Robert Redford. Um,
Butch
what's it?
Cassidy.
Thank you, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. In both of those movies, those guys rapport with each other, like actors and characters, just seem to be on fire. And this one, like I said, what one's consistent and one's just a little off, and you don't really know where it's going to go. I will say this though, let me throw one more point in there. I did like that it's a bit of a mystery, and they don't give it away in the beginning. Like it's not like, oh, there's the bad guy, so I know the bad guy did it. Like you're kind of unraveling this mystery along with the characters, and I prefer when movies do that as opposed to giving you a big fat hint and you already have it figured out and the movie is not as entertaining. So I like that, and it definitely kept me interested. So yeah, to answer your question directly, I just think a strength of buddy cop movies is a really good rapport between the two buddy cops.
so the buddy portion
Mhm.
of it matters.
Yeah, I mean, a really good
lot.
plot helps too, but that's the strength
I,
for me.
I get what you're saying because you could tell when buddy cops have good chemistry and when they don't,
Yeah.
and yeah, just feels a little bit off in that sense. So, anybody else have anything from a buddy cop standpoint that they particularly like, other than, chemistry, I guess, and examples of buddy cops that they like from TV or movies?
I like buddy cops that fight each other. They get into
Yeah.
the buddy cops, go after each other. I'm trying to I think in Lethal Weapon, I think they come to blows at one point.
I feel like it's required at some point for buddy cops to get pissed off at each other.
Real frustrated with each other. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Whether they fight or not, the frustration is a key.
I like some of the strange ones. Belushi and Schwarzenegger for, I think it was Red Heat.
Hmm.
And then Tom Hanks and the dog. That was a good one.
Turner and Hooch.
Mhm.
Um,
And they fought.
And
They definitely
then
fought.
Belushi did a dog one too. Belushi always like followed. It was kind of funny. But
Mhm.
and when it comes to the buddy cop relationship on TV, it's more I don't know about fighting, but there's got to be tension and then redemption a lot.
Mhm.
You know, one of my favorite shows of all time is NYPD Blue, and Andy Sipowicz character, him and dealing with all the partners that he dealt with through the years. There's just some phenomenal stuff there.
For sure. All right, cool. Um, let's see. Dan, give me your opening thoughts on The Nice Guys.
All right. First time I've seen it. Um, I liked it. I think you can't take it seriously though. I'm not gonna sit here and tear apart the plot and all that stuff because I think it's just a comedy, and I think it's a good comedy for what it does. Um, I wrote down, try to say this as equanimically as possible. Um,
Nice.
um, but yeah, this is a Shane Black, and he did Lethal Weapons, he did Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. So movie is similar to those. Um, but Tim said he thought the Holly character was a little strange, but I don't think the movie happens though without the Holly character. I think she's kind of the glue that holds it all together. She's kind of the brains between these, her dad, the dummy, and the brawn of Russell Crowe. So I think that her character, she did a really good job. And I think the plot's okay, but I think the acting for Crowe and Gosling is really good in this movie. And a little shout out to Robert Downey Jr. He did a great job too in the movie.
Walking by.
I don't think he walked. I think he was dead. He was Sid.
Mhm.
I don't think they ever showed him walking.
Mhm. I think he was just
Um,
sitting up. I think
yeah.
that's about it.
Um, but yeah, I had to like breeze through it again after I watched it once to kind of get everything that was going on. At first, I thought Amelia and the Misty Mountains were the same person.
Oh.
So, I was a little confused there. I felt like Gosling, I felt a little dumb there for a while. Um, but yeah, I think that a lot of the stuff for Gosling was pretty funny. Like when he goes into the pool and there's Richard Nixon in the pool, he's like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna die. You got to get out of the pool."
Mhm.
Um, he but in the beginning it shows the tattoo on his hand. It says, "You will never be happy." The tattoo. And I think that's the way he is after his wife died. He just, becomes an alcoholic and he's not too happy. But at the end, maybe he realizes that him and Russell Crowe can have a partnership together with their little ad, which looked very much like the Rockford Files. I think there might have been a little homage to that because the ad's the same one that similar to what Rockford Files would show way back in the 70s. There was a couple, just hints that it was 77. There was a Jaws 2 um, up on a billboard, and there was a comedy club that showed Tim Allen and a couple other comedians that showed their names on the list of comedians that were going to perform at this comedy club. Um, but yeah, no like deep thoughts about the movie. It was just a fun movie. Good acting, I thought, and I enjoyed watching it once.
Enjoyed watching it once. That's a good. Nothing wrong with one and done movies or anything like that. So you mentioned the Shane Black of it all, and I'm kind of curious. Um, you mentioned like how you like Lethal Weapon and well, Lethal Weapon mainly, but anybody else like a lot of other Shane Black directed or written stuff? Is Shane Black even on anyone's radar in terms of what they like from him in the past?
I don't know. I don't have him connected with anything. Oh, we talked about this though.
Wasn't there
Predator.
an Iron Man thing involved with Shane Black, or am I thinking of somebody
He
else?
directed and wrote Iron Man 3.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Hmm. He's the reason why The Mandalorian went the way that it did originally, which,
You mean the Mandarin?
yes, The Mandalorian is another guy who, the galaxy
Played by
far,
Jeff
far away.
Goslinger.
I think it's Goslinger's in that one. Damn it, Aaron! I can't believe you beat me to that.
So, yeah, he did do Iron Man 3, and he's done a couple things with Robert Downey Jr. in the past. So other things that he's done, he wrote, let's see, the first Lethal Weapon, Monster Squad, if anyone's a huge fan of Monster Squad, The Last Boy Scout, Last Action Hero, Long Kiss Goodnight, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Iron Man 3, and The Predator. And then he has hasn't directed a whole lot. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Iron Man 3, The Nice Guys, and The Predator. He's acted in a bunch of stuff too. So kind of a little all over the place.
Yeah, other than tonight, what'd you say his name was? I don't want to
Shane
open
Black.
anything else to go looking for things because I might stress the Wi-Fi.
Shane Black.
Right. Shane Black.
Shane?
Yep.
Shane Black? Yeah, I hadn't heard his name, but listing all that stuff off, I'm definitely a fan. I didn't
Yeah.
know I was a fan, but I am.
Yeah. And you don't know that we're a fan of something until, it just kind of consistently comes up. So it's all good. So Aaron, since, I want to make sure that we get you in just in case the Wi-Fi shits out on you. So Aaron, what'd you think of The Nice Guys?
Well, Tim, since I went out and came back, there's a good chance this isn't going to show up
That's
anyway.
right. Yeah, that's right.
So
we'll see.
But either way, I'll go. I didn't hear the end of what Tim was saying. I understood the start of what Tim was saying. I heard all Dan. Well, I think most of Dan. I went into it, loved it, thought it was great. As you're naming other things this person has done, and as I'm not sure you were, writer or director or producer or whatever he did in those other movies, or parts of each, makes total sense now. Because I went in it as somebody who likes movies, not a film critic. I wasn't looking to pick anything. It was yesterday. It was hotter than hell out. I didn't have anything else to do. So I laid on the couch and watched a really great movie that I thought it's just fun. If you want to pick it apart, yeah, great movie might not be in the category of, all time great movies. But I will definitely watch it again. I can't believe I've never seen it. Didn't look up how it did in the box office. It's a travesty. It didn't do as well. That's what I was in the middle of looking up, like other things that came out and maybe, took away its thunder. Because I mean, with the cast, just those two, and I guess since 2016, I think, well, Crow was still a powerhouse. Maybe the shine was coming off him by that time. Maybe the shine just missed these two, because Gosling is super hot right now. And that might have been towards the end of Russell Crowe. Not that I've ever, had a problem with anything he's done. Movie wise, I don't know what he's been accused of, if anything. But yeah, I mean, just these two together, I thought the whole thing was hilarious. The setup and delivery, the two working together, I liked that Detroit was mentioned. Detroit was a big part of it, and the big three, and it's all corrupt, and the catalytic converter scandal. It was great. The only thing I can say that will side with Tim, there were a couple times when I got that Russell Crowe was the straight man and Gosling was the slapstick,
Yeah.
The goof. I mean, there was a couple times he straight went Three Stooges when he was like next to the tree. And
Yeah, right.
so there were a couple things that just a couple times when I was like, ooh, it was a little bit, as the kids say nowadays, cringy. But I got past it because like all the characters were just so fun. Uh, the daughter, Russell Crowe, the hitmen, the different hitmen, they all had characters and backstories that what you guys are talking about. Maybe if it would have done better, I don't know if we would have, known more about the Detroit hitmen that were sent there, but they were like a step down from, what was the Dick Tracy movie, or even Ford Fairlane, the bad guy in Ford Fairlane, almost cartoony. I would even give him cartoony without the one guy's face was blue, without extreme makeup or haircuts or clothing. Maybe even along the lines of Smoking Aces or something like that. But I just went into it with it's once it started and I laughed a few times. It was just I had a great time watching it. Like I said, the only thing was a couple times maybe Gosling took it a little too far with the not even necessarily slapstick, but just his maybe overacting where he went with it.
For me, where he went over the balcony, that was when I was just like, that was.
See, I thought going over the balcony was hilarious.
I thought it was too, but the way he went, I was like, he forced that.
Yeah.
Well, which time over the balcony? He did.
Yeah.
He did it twice.
I meant
I mean, come
the
on.
first time.
The first time at the party.
You're supposed to be upstairs. You fell, didn't you?
Yeah.
And just come on, when he hits the pool and the other guy hits the cement and explodes, it's hilarious.
That was good.
So
That was good.
stoned.
I have to say, I did like his high pitched squealing too.
Yeah.
When you yell Jesus in a high pitch, that was good every time.
Yep. So, I could, if I dug into it, there'd probably be some things I didn't like, but I don't want to. Like I said, I'm gonna watch it again. I didn't watch it a second time because I didn't want to sit and notice things. Everything from I'm a projectionist, to just the little things, little quirky things, which is a real thing. But and the other sitting at the bar, how old was that kid that was a projectionist? He looked like he was like 17, and he had to go down to the bar to get a drink. It's like, but I'm also old now, so everybody looks like fetuses.
Well, back in 77, the drinking age may have been
not 17.
Or not, I don't know.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me watch it. I know we gotta watch deeper stuff and pick it apart and learn lessons, but this was not that movie.
Yeah, I'm sick of being the one that consistently picks those. I need to throw in some, fun ones every now and again. So, Aaron, to answer your original question, or not original point, is what happened with this? So the weekend that this came out, it was number 4. So number 1 that weekend was the Angry Birds movie, the cinematic gem that is the Angry Birds movie. Number 2 was the other life-changing movie, Neighbors 2, Sorority Rising. So I think the comedy angle was just a little bit, there was just too much comedy.
I went to see that one. I went to see the Neighbors one. So
yeah. But then also,
and I saw Angry Birds with my nephews. So
this was also the 3rd week of Captain America Civil War 2. So, and then The Nice Guys was number 4. And then the 5th week of the Jungle Book remake as well. So a lot of things not exactly working in this movie's favor, unfortunately. And then there was still even some theaters that was still playing Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice as well. That was still kind of on the radar too. So I think maybe if this had been released at a different time, maybe it could have potentially done better. But I think the way that they picked where this released, I don't think this had a chance.
I do remember the marketing for it, and I don't remember it being pushed as so much of a comedy. I don't know if they tried to portray it as more of a straight,
just a
buddy
conventional
cop,
buddy
but
cop.
kind of serious.
Mhm.
I don't know if they were going with, Russell Crowe, Academy Award winner, whatever. But I don't know. Like, I didn't even realize how much of a comedy it was going to be.
Well, and then during this time, so we go back 2016 for Ryan Gosling. So the movies that he was in before The Nice Guys was The Place Beyond the Pines, Gangster Squad, Only God Forgives, The Big Short. All of those pretty serious movies. And with the exception of maybe Crazy Stupid Love and Lars and the Real Girl, he's pretty a pretty serious actor at this point. Same thing with Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe wasn't in a lot of comedies or anything like that. Before this came out, he was in let's see. Right after this, he did The Mummy, which that went well. Um,
Is that the Tom Cruise one?
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, he was Dr. Jekyll in that. But other movies that he was in that would have been of note, he was in Les Miserables, Man of Steel, and Noah. And well,
I saw him in Man of Steel.
yeah. No, yeah, that Noah one is kind of interesting. So Aaron, a question that I have for you is that a lot of movies get sequels out there, and this is one where I'm kind of wondering if a sequel would kind of bump up the popularity for something like this. Do you have any other movies out there that you're kind of scratching your head and like, how come this doesn't have a sequel yet when we have two fucking neighbors movies about sororities and fraternities and things like that?
One, I enjoyed both of those movies.
Okay. Noted. That's fine.
We talked last week, like, I think a sequel would have only done good things for Flash Gordon. I mean, and it was
It's
planned.
true. It's true.
Most of them had signed on for 3 movies.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be. Another movie that only got one shot and a sequel might have brought more to it. You'd have to give me time to think.
Clearly,
There's nothing.
undercover brother. Clearly,
There's nothing that off the top of my head. Um, you know, yeah, you gotta give me time because
Okay.
I want to say a bunch of things and it's just for effect. It's not. So I want to actually think about it and answer your question honestly.
Okay. Noted.
I think Edge of Tomorrow
Mhm.
would be one that could have a really good sequel.
I think that kind of suffered the same thing that this one did, is that just I think people generally liked it a lot. Critics loved both those movies, or both this and Edge of Tomorrow, or as it's known now, Live, Die, Repeat.
Right.
But and
Which way
fans
did it
generally liked
originally come out? Because I was going to bring that up because I didn't know which way it went. I know I've seen the movie, but I don't know what the title is.
it. It started in theaters as Edge of Tomorrow, and then eventually, once it got to physical media and home theater, they changed it to Edge of Tomorrow, Live, Die, Repeat, and then eventually they just dropped the Edge of Tomorrow piece because that's what the graphic novel is known by, Live, Die, Repeat, not Edge of Tomorrow.
I like that one. That's a good one from Brian.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm going to come up with my own.
I just want to point out that Tim said Undercover Brother.
Well,
I sure
I-
did.
Whether-
Stand by it. Should be a
Okay.
sequel.
Okay. Noted. Fair enough. Okay. Not judging you at all
Thank you.
for that.
I don't think that's sincere.
Well, I like Brian's because it is one that,
is good.
yeah. And you could see it actually does have potential for a sequel. And like this, it just, it kind of got shafted at the box office and that, ended things for, and I don't know if is the Live, Die, Repeat, you mentioned that it was a book. Is it a book series? Is there more to that story? Do you know? I don't read, so.
I never learned to read. No, I have no idea, actually.
Ah, shit. They did make a sequel to Undercover Brother. Damn it.
It was that bad, huh?
I'm gonna mute myself.
Straight to
Yeah.
beta.
Yeah, retract your statement, good sir. Okay.
Damn it.
Brian,
Yes, sir.
give me your thoughts on The Nice Guys.
I enjoyed the movie overall. A lot of the stuff guys have said, the buddy cop aspect to it, I like the daughter character. I didn't enjoy her going to watch porn at a party, and the dad doesn't even, you know, care enough to freak out about it. I liked Russell Crowe smashing the guy's head into the table. That was fun to see. I did, and Dan kind of mentioned it. The billing on that comedy club was Robert Klein, Richard Lewis, Tim Allen, and Elaine Boozler. That's a hell of a night of comedy. I mean, there were a couple of things that possible plot holes, maybe, or things that kind of bugged me. One was like when he was getting Russell Crowe was getting shot at by the guys from Detroit, and a lady gets shot across the street, and like they never deal with it.
Right.
You know, I thought that was a little weird. John Boy, the killer Matt Boomer that played, he doesn't know Amelia. He doesn't know who it is, right? He goes to the house and sees the friend. It's like, is that Amelia? No. But he sees a girl on the street that says, "Can you help me?" And he shoots her. So he shouldn't have known who that was if he, you know, but I'm assuming he should have seen a picture of some sort so that he kind of knew who it was. That was a kind of big plot hole. So Jackson Healy gets paid by Amelia to beat up Holland Marsh, correct? How does he not know how to get a hold of her again? You know, you got to help me find her. You got, you know, it's like, she's the one who, you guys obviously can get a hold of each other. So
Well, she had the magazine that had his picture and number in it, so maybe she said, "Just meet me in a spot."
it was a possibility. I did go with that. You know, it was one of those little things that kind of bugged me. I did write a note that says Detroit is a fickle bitch, because they were going with, like you said, the catalytic converter issues, and damn, Kim Basinger looked good. It's clearly work done on her, but she looked phenomenal.
I kind
But-
of thought the same thing. It was like it was the last few moments before the wax started to melt, though.
Wow.
Wow.
But yeah, overall, I did enjoy the movie. Not sure how many more times I would watch it. But it had some laugh out loud moments, and really good job.
Really good job.
But sorry, I froze.
Really good
my
job
screen
me
froze.
picking it. Okay.
Your screen
Okay.
did not freeze.
Actually,
You just
that's what I
stopped
was
saying
doing.
words.
I did. I did. It's been a long Sunday.
It's been
Yeah,
a
good
long-
job. Good pick is what I actually meant to say. And I said, good job.
Okay. You're welcome, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess let's focus on Holly as a character, because it seems like we're kind of split on it. Is that I think generally people like her as a character. I think some of the decision makings that her dad does, and kind of she does as well, she puts herself at unnecessary risk a lot. But I kind of agree with Dan, is that this movie doesn't work unless, like, I think everybody has said that Russell Crowe's the straight man in this. I think Holly's the straight man in this. And then Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling, they are just taking their cues from her. Like, for for her to have that much of an effect on Russell Crowe, where she's like, "Don't kill him, or else I will never talk to you again." Like, and Russell Crowe's like, "Congratulations, your life got saved by an 11-year-old." So,
Yeah, but he's not had anybody care about him in so long, just to have somebody that, basically, I won't talk to you or I won't like you anymore. It's kind of like what was it a couple of weeks ago we were talking, there's somebody who likes me,
Mhm.
yeah, back when we were talking, maybe probably after the show, when we were talking about it was when I was listening to Tropic Thunder. That's why it's
Oh,
recent.
That's right.
But it's just he hasn't had somebody care about him. He's like, you know what? I don't want, this is a good girl.
Yeah.
And since we're talking about her, can I ask this question?
Sure.
One, I get Brian, it's got a daughter, 100%. But I like, she better not be in there watching porn. I'd have killed everybody, you know. Somebody else, I don't know if it was Tim or Dan, kind of brought up the same.
I
Yeah.
said that, yeah.
It was weird, and I was kind of thinking that, one, I kind of told you where my headspace was. I wasn't thinking too much about it. I did think it was weird and creepy, but I also thought that, it's Russell Crowe. It's not really your dad at that point. They're not super good friends. It's kind of where he's building the relationship with her, by letting her stay there. But did her dad know she had come back in the cab? Like, when does Ryan's
No.
character see her again?
Yeah, he finds out when he goes to leave the party, and the
Okay.
valet says,
The
"The girl you
was in there, yeah.
put in the cab."
That was in the trunk, right. So he never actually knew. So when you were like, Brian, when you were like, if I was that dad, there's no way this would happen. Not giving anybody a pass on anything, but just he didn't know that she had come back when she was like, he never saw her through a window, like 3 sets of windows, and
No, but if you know your kid and she's going to tell the cab driver to stop a block after leaving,
so run back. So
I didn't. We're still on this. I didn't think it was like Gosling should have stopped her from being in that room, or even that Russell Crowe should have been like, grab her by the arm, no, we're out of here. I just thought it was a weird tone in that scene
maybe.
to have this girl who's that young just sitting next to a porn actress, and I mean, she just looks like she's watching it and ready to eat some popcorn. And like, I would just think that just, it doesn't sit right with me. Like a girl wouldn't just want to sit there and watch that. I get that she's supposed to be being Nancy Drew here, and she's trying to get a clue to find Amelia, and she's working this actress to try and find her. But the scene felt weird. It wasn't about how anybody did it. It's just that they put that girl in that room watching that movie with a porn actress. Felt weird to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, and this also, there's a pretty consistent trend where a lot of the kids in this kind of do kind of perplexing behavior. Like at the very beginning, the boy who was the little boy in Iron Man 3, reading a nudie mag, that's not weird or anything like that. But to have a car crash and this this porn star is dying in front of him, and his first thought is to cover her up. It's like, that's very noble and a very nice thing to do, but it is also, an interesting choice. And then the kid that they were asking about
Oh, riding the bike.
yeah, riding the bike. Yeah.
That was really weird.
That was
Yeah.
that was like, I'm not gonna lie, I laughed a little bit, but it doesn't change the fact
Well, the thing that's funny about that is Gosling's reaction. It has nothing to do with the kid and what he's saying. I think it's, you're put in this really weird situation, which is, I don't think necessary for the movie, but Gosling's reaction is the part that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
We already paid you. What am I even saying? Like that,
Yeah.
Just
Sure.
hopping back for a second. Yes, that was totally weird. You want to see my dick?
Yeah.
You do, Tim? Anyway,
Got to do it
I
now.
actually thought no. I actually thought because I'm not a kid on a Schwinn bike.
Nope.
The covering the girl up scene, the whole start was I thought it was like a flashback and it was going to be one of the good guys. You know, you're
So
going to
too.
find out that, you know, that happened to Russell Crowe when he was a kid. And, you know, he's like, he's always been a good guy. He's always, you know, tried to help out her. Just, and not, she was already dead. There was nothing he could do. But like covering her up was like, I don't know, like chivalrous or,
Yeah.
you know,
It's-
protect her
it's-
modesty or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I originally thought this was going to be a flashback, and I'm like, oh no, we're just staying here. You know, it's
And then it
1976.
didn't, and then it didn't amount to anything except
Right.
it gives the viewers a clue about the name of the video. That's about it. And but again, if we as the viewer know that, like, who cares? Like, it just felt like a throwaway thing.
It was weird. It was a weird opening. You thought you were going to get more out of that kid, right? Because he did do a rather nice thing there, and you think you'd see him again, then you just don't. But also, when porn actresses get in car crashes, do their clothes just fall off? Like, was she just driving around naked, or did she just? That's what happens to
Maybe.
porn actresses when they get in car crashes. All their clothes fall off.
She
First
was
of all,
probably experiencing reefer madness.
I also don't think you need to be a porn actress in order to drive naked or anything like that. Somebody clearly
That's the
hasn't
right
done it.
answer.
Yeah, hey, yeah. I don't have demographics on traffic and
We're not
you know,
here to
well,
kink shame. No, that is
Porky
that's
pigging, it's called. You're porky pigging when you're driving around naked.
With just pants on.
There we go.
Donald ducking if your pants are off.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a bit of a weird thing. Um, maybe just to establish that she, she is part of this counterculture where she is part of the porn scene, which this is back in the 70s when they still had like billboards up for pornos and things like that. That's what a time to be alive, right? But the going back to Holly though, and that scene, yes, it does seem like an odd choice, but also two things about that. One, I don't think she's watching it for the sake of watching it. I think, like everyone said, she's trying to get some clues from the actress, and if this is what she has to do, then this is what she has to do. Also, for Ryan Gosling's character, he's drunk already, so even if she did see, or even if he did see her, it's not like it mattered. He jumps into a pool, tries to question two mermaids, and that didn't work out. So even if he did see her, I don't think it would have mattered.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that's just me. But okay. Uh Wilden, go ahead. Take us home.
All right. No, I really like this. A lot of fun. I kind of, the way Aaron was saying, I didn't really invest myself too hard in the idea of like, oh, this plot has to be really good. It was just a lot of fun. Gosling is great at everything he does, I think. He was a lot of fun. Russell Crowe played his part really well. The kid was great. I thought the Holly character was fantastic. Um, my favorite line in the whole thing was towards the beginning when Gosling's just like, all right, give it to me straight. Don't go easy on me because I'm your dad. Am I a bad person? And she's just like, yes.
Yes.
That's great.
Just without hesitation. Just like, yes.
That's just perfect. But yeah, I mean, some of her lines are some of my favorite parts of the movie. Then, as weird as that scene is when she's just sitting there watching porn with the actress that's in the movie they're watching. The whole and stuff callback cracked me up. Don't say and stuff, just say they're doing anal. Like it's just I don't know. I thought she was great in this. I don't think usually in this kind of movie there's one character that's smarter than all the rest of them. I guess you could say that's Holly, but to be honest with you, I don't think there are any smart characters like that are actually the smart ones in this. Every single character in this movie does something dumb.
Oh,
And obviously,
when you think Ryan Gosling just nailed it, like he's got all these things and he's figured it all out. And like everything he said was wrong.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's hilarious.
And
Yeah.
after they couldn't find them in the apartment. Like, oh, let's go to the airport.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
doing
that was
flyovers now?
that.
I didn't think they did flyovers after 6 p.m.
Yeah, I thought those parts were really well done. So as far as like the actual writing of this, this is just a lot of fun. The plot did kind of keep me going for a little bit. I know it wasn't the most serious thing in the world, and there are plot holes, and there are parts that are really weird. Again, the kid on the bike. I watched this 1.5 times. I was watching through it a second time yesterday, and then I got distracted by something. But like both times, that part just made me go, ugh. Like this is just weird. But but it was still, I mean, this isn't supposed to be, three billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri or anything. Like this is just a fun movie. Um, I didn't know that was Robert Downey Jr. in the chair.
Mhm.
Me neither.
That's
Yeah.
kind of fun. I mean, I guess it makes sense knowing a little more about Shane Black and his history with him. I didn't know that, so that's fun. More ties to Marvel. The girl that plays Holly is Betsy Brandt in the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. Um,
Mhm.
and I don't know. I guess I don't have a ton to say otherwise. It's just I enjoyed watching this, and it was kind of a nice easy break in the day instead of sitting down and trying to force my way through something or like getting really emotionally invested in anything. It was just, you know what, this is fun, let's have fun for a couple hours.
Mhm. Yeah, this does a lot to like subvert expectations when it comes to certain things with detective work. So, for example, I think one of the parts that made me laugh the hardest was at the very beginning when Ryan Gosling punches the glass and then he cuts himself and he's like, "Oh shit, that's a lot of blood."
Yeah.
Because you think that that would happen a lot more often, but most people they'll just punch the glass and then just call it a day. And it's the same thing when Russell Crowe comes in and breaks his arm. Like same thing where he's like, he's not gonna break his arm. Oh shit, he broke his arm.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same thing in Talladega Nights when he's like, oh nope, you should break his arm. And he's like, no, I don't want to break it, but if he says I should, then I'm going to.
Do it,
And then,
Frenchie.
and then he actually does it. Um, yeah, and two other parts that made me laugh really hard. I don't know why the protest scene made me laugh so hard. When
That's
they're
pretty
just
good.
like I'm looking for somebody. It's like
We
they're
can't
they're
talk
not
to you,
here.
asshole.
We can't talk to you. We're
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
It's like how can you all be dead? Aren't you supposed to be wearing gas masks? Aren't those supposed to save you? Just that whole sequence made me laugh. And I think the one line um when Holly I think they're all meeting up at the diner and Holly comes in and is like um makes a joke is like, oh, I just gave him a rim job. And he's like, nope, nope, rim shot. That's rim shot. Um yeah, I laughed harder at that than I probably should have. But
I I really enjoyed. I know it kind of goes to the irresponsible thing, but just kind of with everything assumed about Ryan Gosling and like his flaws as a person and as a father, I still did enjoy his reaction when the banging on the trunk and Holly's in there and he opens it up and she's like, "Well, since I'm here, you might as well take me there, right?" Doesn't say a
shut
word, just closes it back up and brings the keys over to the guy. I laughed pretty hard at that too. I wanted to say one other thing, just as
Hang on,
far as the
Mike.
plot goes.
While we're on that, I like that he keeps hitting on Tally even when she's the bad guy. He's just like, your hair looks great like that. And he puts a
What's the
pillow under her head.
What's the pillow?
Touching it.
I just thought that was great.
That part was great. Yeah.
I Yeah, the and then when like the money goes up in the air and they're just like, "Oh, uh-oh," and then obviously it's not. I mean that part I kind of saw coming, but there were a couple I didn't, like Matt Bomer's is it Bomer?
I thought it was
Is it
Bomer.
Boomer? Yeah,
B
that's how it's
Bomber,
spelled,
maybe.
but
Yeah.
yeah, well, I'm gonna say Boomer. Anyway, when like Amelia runs up to his car and then she just got shot, that was a part I was like, "Oh, I didn't see that coming." Well, that's huh. And it was a little bit of like they've been spending the entire movie looking for this girl. Now she's dead. And there's still like a little bit to go. So I was like, what? Like, all right, so what are we doing now?
Right.
Mhm.
But then, I thought they pulled it off very well. But No, it was a lot of fun, and I do enjoy the fact that everybody in this movie is a little dumb. And as far as Matt Bomer goes, I went and started rewatching what's it called? White Collar.
Mhm.
I mean, I kind of just had it on the background, but like, that's pretty much what I know him from.
Mhm.
So yeah,
They're
it
they're
was, it
rebooting
was a lot of
that.
fun.
Of
They're
course they are.
rebooting it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The same
What-
cast and everything, or
What
A
is
lot
it?
of the a lot of the same cast.
huh?
What's
It was
White
a
Collar?
it was a USA show.
Yeah,
That's
I
all
did-
you need to say. It's a
Well, no,
USA
no.
show.
Yeah.
No.
There's a really good chance I probably watched it. I just don't remember it because I liked those USA shows like Burn Notice and stuff like that.
he was the white collar criminal that they go and like get him to help out with some other white collar crime, and so he's tagging along with Tim DeKay's FBI agent, and so he's like,
Tiffany Amber
the
Thiessen
prisoner.
is in it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Former the former criminal turned consultant or whatever you want to call it is like a genius or whatever. So
Sure. Yeah. Um. Okay. So
Hang on, like Windland said earlier, I wanted to add this to it. I think if this movie would have done better, Brian's got one, and as it was going on, I was like, holy shit, I was wondering what Brian would have behind him because I think it's a very quotable movie. I think it's got some very funny, quotable one-line, zingers
Mhm.
that if if it would have been more of a success, it would have been like, let go of my tots, or whatever, something
Right.
as stupid as that. If that can get, a line that I had to hear a million times in middle school, as a middle school teacher, this was way better as far as lines would go, as far as quotability.
Yeah.
I on that note too, I'm a big fan of like physical comedy and especially sound effects. I've mentioned before, and so while the plot part of it, when they kind of just, all right, the body's gone, we don't worry about it anymore. When they do toss the body over the fence and then it just goes crashing through the table with the sound editing on that, and then everybody freaking out, that part made me laugh a lot too.
'Cause, yeah, you don't expect that to happen because
Right.
you have no idea where they are in relation to anything else. And typically when you see something like that happen, they just dump it and they just call it a day. So I think that's just Shane Black again, just being like, here's another way that I could fuck with you a little bit, and then that's it. But you're
Well,
right,
in
that
horror,
part
They
was really
still
funny.
kind of dumped him and called it a day because they didn't really follow
they
up on
just
that
took off.
very much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fair.
like in horror movies, you have a jump scare. Like there's a couple, there's like jump laughs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
When they're in his office, in Russell Crowe's office, and it's like, there's a bag, and he's like, don't go in there, I'm holding that for a guy. And just the squib goes up, poof,
It just explodes.
the whole window turns blue, and
Yeah.
everybody knows what happened.
It's yeah,
I
Russell Crowe doesn't react or anything like that. He's just like, I told you. I told you.
Yeah, it's like, how are you
I
pissed at
do
me? I warned you.
I love in the beginning the first confrontation between Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe's character when like Gosling keeps on like, oh yeah, no, I get it. I love that game. He's just kind of playing along until he tries something and then gets stopped right away, and then he tries again and he gets stopped right away. That whole scene, that whole dynamic is really funny. But you were mentioning earlier, Hilty, about when he breaks his arm. And as he's holding his, all right, you're just gonna tell the doctor the entire time. Gosling just going, no, and like he's trying to will it out of happening. It's just, oh god.
So three
And-
of us are laughing, and three of us are acting. They look like they've had a spiral fracture before. It's not funny, guys.
It really hurts. No, that's good call out, Wilden. Um, last question I'll throw out to everybody is that this is a movie shot in the early 2010s. Takes place in the 70s. We kind of mentioned some of the aesthetics here with, the way the house looks, the way the clothes. Even something as simple as the Warner Brothers logo at the beginning, which is the one that they used from the 70s as well. So I'm kind of curious, you know, for anybody, what are some other movies out there that has done the 70s justice in your view?
Oh, we watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Mhm.
I think that one did.
That one definitely did.
Dazed and
Yeah.
Confused.
Mhm.
No, I never, our high school, there was always rumors I had never been a part of, or like either end of like a senior kill day or a freshman kill day, whichever way you want to, throw it out. So the guys running around with paddles, that was like always a myth. Maybe it did happen in certain schools, but other than that, yeah, like the burnouts and the cars and just the general vibe of the movie, I thought, that
Mhm.
one nailed the 70s.
Yeah.
Being a child of the 70s.
Mhm. Yeah. And then I guess one last question as well is that this joins a long line of movies that takes place in LA. Anybody got a movie that they like in particular where it takes place in LA? Because there's a ton of movies out there, and sometimes LA is more of a character than others, but I think
The
this one
sequel
kind of
to
splits
Escape from New York.
Escape. Yeah, I do remember that one. I actually saw that one first, Escape from LA.
Did
So
you go
I've
back and watch Escape from New York because of it? So
Yes, yes. And then I saw, oh, this is the appeal of this because Escape from LA was fine. Like I didn't think it was bad or anything like that. But then you go back and watch Escape from New York, it's like, oh, I,
Yeah.
this is way better.
I,
Is that what you're about to say?
I see what this is going for now. I see the appeal. Escape from New York is a lot of fun.
Hilty, did you see any movies being shot in LA when you lived out there?
All the
Like,
time.
did you see anything on some?
All the time.
Oh yeah.
All the time. Yeah.
I
That's
liked
Anything
I liked
notable?
La Land,
Mhm.
as far as the LA movie goes.
yeah, one favorite of mine, LA Confidential, which
I was gonna say that. Yeah, that's
so there's uh, not only because Kim Basinger, but Russell Crowe is in LA Confidential as well, and he plays a very similar character. He's the muscle, pretty much. That's it. And he's a pretty good investigator, but he when Russell Crowe's character comes up against Kim Basinger's character, which it's kind of the dichotomy between, brain versus brawn. Um, that's kind of the same dynamic that they have in this one. And it does take place roughly about 20 years after, like LA Confidential takes place in the 50s and then this takes place in the 70s. So there's a fan theory out there because we all know fan theories and fan conspiracy theories are just so great, that the character in Russell Crowe's character in LA Confidential is the exact same character as him in The Nice Guys as well.
is Boogie Nights New York or LA?
I think that's LA.
That's LA.
Gotta
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
LA.
I like
Yeah.
for that question. I like that movie too.
Well, and that's also 70s as well.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yep.
Again,
It's up
yeah,
there too. It's a good
yeah.
call out.
It's funny you're talking about Russell Crowe being in LA Confidential. Who's not in LA Confidential? Like that's a big cast in that movie.
It's a big cast and it is a great cast
Mhm.
as well. So, all right, cool. Well,
To answer your question
Yes.
earlier,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, unnamed voice.
This
who's
is
not
from a
going to be
while
in
ago.
the.
It's,
Yeah.
I want to give my own answer. I need time.
Tim, you need to point your mic at you. Mine's up and down from where mine is. Yours, you sound very far away.
Thank you.
All right. Jumper.
Ooh.
One, Star Wars connection. But two, I didn't hate the movie. And I think it could have been, I thought it was a cool premise. So I think a sequel might have helped that one. Because it didn't do well. A lot on the list that you see of movies that should have got a sequel are movies that did really good. But that wasn't your question. So
Eh, It's It's all good.
I
'cause-
think a underperforming movie that should have got a sequel, I'd say Jumper.
Mhm. Well, because it's interesting because it's, I think the two examples of that happening over the last couple of years where this is a legacy sequel that it's been a little while since it had its sequel, but Across the Spider-Verse and Inside Out 2 grossly outperforming their original movies. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but they were
so-
still both successful.
they were still both considered successful. Yes. Into the Spider-Verse, maybe not as successful as Sony was hoping, but enough to at least greenlight a sequel. Yeah, they keep talking about how this potentially could have a sequel at some point, but with how popular
Right.
Ryan Gosling is right now, and the girl who plays Holly, she's like 20 now, and she was just in the Mean Girls musical as she played Katie in that. So
But they
Oh,
could
she was
set it.
Katie.
yeah, she was Katie.
Cares?
Wow.
I'm just kidding. Sorry.
It's
Are you though?
No.
That
it
was
didn't-
that was his way of saying "shut up, nerd." I think.
instead of being
Uh,
sarcastic, you should have just gave him a shut up, nerd.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. So, um, yeah.
But they
So-
could set it in the late 80s and have it deal with junk bonds or some shit. Cocaine.
just some random crime because at first when you think, oh, this is just a simple murder investigation or missing persons investigation, then we go all the way to grand conspiracy when it
Yeah.
comes to auto manufacturers. Like
Yeah.
And the
that
government.
to me,
And the Justice
that to me,
Department.
oh, can't forget about that piece. This must be a conspiracy theorist dream, a movie like this. But anyways, I'm glad that most of you at least enjoyed it, some of you more than others. Yeah. Hooray.
It sounds to me like everybody enjoyed it, right? Like I don't think anybody didn't like watching this movie.
I don't know, Tim. You raised a lot of points that made it seem like you hated the movie.
Really didn't. I said I was entertained by it the whole time, and I
Mm.
saw some things that I thought were weird, but I liked it. I'm glad I watched it.
Yeah.
Don't put baby in a corner.
After listening to everybody talk about it, I might like it a little bit less just because I'm more aware. Like how creepy a couple things are and a couple of plot holes, like Brian pointed out. I was like, shit. So
Mhm.
but I'll still
This-
laugh.
Yeah.
But to Aaron's point, yeah, I've seen this a couple of times. This has made me laugh each and every time because it's not like this is a movie I watch every year, but it's a long enough gap to where it's like, oh, I forgot most of the jokes in this. And they still hit. They still made me laugh.
Yeah.
So, right, back to you, Tim.
All right.
I yield my time to the chair.
Movie. That's a wrap on movie number 194, The Nice Guys from 2016, which does not star anybody named Ryan Goslinger. I'll tell you that right now. But a good conversation. So we're moving on to a new theme here. We're going to have 7 picks under the theme, a movie we should have watched by now. If we're going to be a respectable movie club, what's a movie we should have watched? So, you could interpret that a lot of different ways. Like maybe it's some kind of sleeper pick that you have. But I think what we're going for is something that everybody would know, and we just haven't wanted to pull the trigger on it. Well, I still don't know what I'm gonna do here. I got a list of 6 of them in front of me, and I think they all fit this. But I don't want to lead us off on the wrong path here. So I just want to make sure that we talked about Star Wars last week. You could pick Star Wars: A New Hope because even though we already know it, we would take another look at it and put a critique on it. I'm gonna go with this movie that I wanted to from the beginning. That's a decision I just made here. It's a monster movie. I don't think we've had a monster movie yet. And if we're going to be a movie
How
group,
dare you,
Young Frankenstein. Young
We
Winnie the
should-
Pooh, Blood and Honey. How dare you not consider that a monster movie?
Right.
I think what you meant to say was Mike Wilden. How did okay?
It was a monster of a movie.
This franchise
Semantics.
has had more movies made out of it than any other franchise. This goes back to the 1950s. We're going to watch the original Godzilla movie from 1954. That's what we're going to do. Yep. I think from my childhood, I remember seeing Godzilla movies on Saturdays and Sundays, and it was like WWF wrestling type stuff. You know, at that point, those movies had turned into, well, let's put another monster and they'll wrestle each other. The original's a little deeper than that, though, and so watch this with in mind, looking for what they were actually going for the first one. And I have to admit, I haven't seen any of the new ones, and I almost want to like bookend it with one of the newer ones that are kind of critically acclaimed, and just give a little perspective on the whole series. But that's not the homework assignment here. I think I'm just going to say 1954's Godzilla. Give it a watch, and let's have a talk about launching that particular series of movies.
If you are going to bookmark this to some extent or another, kind of like what Tim said,
Yeah.
Bookmark it with Godzilla -1, because
Bookend.
yeah, because it's the most recent one. No, it's not, because technically,
Godzilla Kong.
And Kong.
Godzilla
right?
Twitter Kong is somewhere. It just came out this year.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Godzilla -1, I think, gets really close to what the original Godzilla was trying to say in the first place.
Oh, okay. I like that. Well, I may do that. You guys don't have to, just to have some perspective. How many of you guys have watched some of the newer ones?
Well, it depends on, like, newer at one point was John Cusack, where they made Godzilla into more of a lizard, more of a velociraptor type.
Yeah.
So that was like the original reboot I remember, but I've watched I don't know how long ago it was. It was after Kong, the Kong reboot, and then the Godzilla vs. Kong. So I saw that one.
Okay.
Where they end up with like axes and shit.
I literally haven't watched one since I was a kid, so I haven't seen any of the newer versions of it. So I'm going back to the OG here, and I'm gonna watch a newer one too, just to kind of get a feel for it.
That'll do it for this episode of the BTB Movie Club podcast. Thank you as always for listening. We know we enjoyed ourselves. We hope you did too. Have yourself a great week. We are partnered with the SPDM Crew Podcast Network.